April 4th, 2025. This is the Recoup Daily Check-In. This is our Friday hour-long weekly live stream with me, Sweetman, and Sid. Today, we're going to get started with what we shipped in the past 24 hours. And then after that, we'll decide if we want to go into what we usually do of going through our Notion and running through that weekly outline, or if we want to go down any sort of other path that might be more sincere, that might push us forward outside of that. We've got two options. But to get it started, in the past 24 hours, what have you been shipping, Sid?
All right, so here's what I've been shipping. Let's share screen. And let's share this one. And let's put you up here for a second. And let's make this smaller. All right, cool. So real quick overview of what I shipped. The one that what I shipped is recent chats are now they show all the way here, a little bit better formatting, and then if you move it up, like this thing stays. So like it basically like grows and shrinks and extends, so it doesn't have any blank space. That was freaking me out. And I just kind of formatted it a little bit better. The next thing I did was rename and delete. So we can rename, new name.
Wow.
And then, boom. And then we got a delete, boom.
Wow.
So
and that's what in the back end, it like deletes the room from Supabase, or?
Oh, you know what? I don't even know.
Vibe coding at its best. I don't actually know what it does under the hood.
Yeah, I know it's an API route. But
to be clear, did you ship? You haven't shipped the rename and delete yet, have you?
No, this is still for review, so we can go through it.
It's already up. You already. Oh, I see in the code review channel. I'm seeing it now. Needs review. Cool. So that's something we could be doing during this.
Cool. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing that. The only other thing that I did this morning was started going into the Supabase to go through all of our user emails and start that process of merging people. So I'm going to start doing that. Well, I started doing that, but I'm going to start doing that. And then I just started going through everybody's emails one by one because you can actually see them. And so like I'm also kind of putting the list together of emails that I recognize, or seeing like if there's any emails that have like a URL that I can go check out to see like who is this person. So just kind of just diving deeper into like whose emails do we have? Are they? And then I want to figure out how are they using their account? When was the last time they used their account? You know, that whole thing. But yeah, good week. Good morning.
I'm really glad that you shipped without review, and I'm excited to review that pull request. On my side, the main want that I've been working towards is I want new chat messages to appear instantly, which then led me into I want the chat room route change to be invisible, which led me into I want chat to reason and respond after the route change. And so I'm just slowly working through that. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Now I can.
Okay. So to show what it is I'm working on, when you go to chat right now and you say something like, how long do you take to respond? 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm gone at this point. My attention's somewhere else. The route changed. Now we're seeing the text. 17, 18, 19, like 20 seconds after I sent the message before we actually get a response, which is just normal web responses. If anything takes longer than a couple hundred milliseconds, you've lost the user and they're bouncing away. So where I'm at is I have not deployed this yet because I'm not ready for it, but I've got this instant route, which you can see it looks a little bit different. But you send a message, you see it instantly, no wait time, it's instantly there. And then let's see if it did it. We're still on instant for right now. It should have, it just moved us to the new route invisibly. I don't know if you saw any changes on the page, but like it invisibly moved us to a new route, but the page didn't change, and then we got a response. Let me try to do that counting again just to see what it is. Instance to count between sending the input and getting a response. Instant 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, nope, 16, 17, 18. And now I'm wondering if it crashed because now it's slower than it was before.
Yeah, it might have
So
crashed.
this is definitely showing. I saw something. Finally did it. So I'm still not there all the way.
So it's
Go ahead.
it's still taking the same time to call the LLM. It's just now you're seeing it, your response message faster.
I'm seeing my message faster. I'm seeing this faster. We're moving the route and not changing the UI. So those are the big changes that have been made so far. As soon as I send a message, I instantly see it. And then when the route changes, because we need this chat, because otherwise if we don't have the chat ID, when I try to refresh the page, it won't know what chat I'm in, and then it'll delete the conversation. So we need to redirect them over to here. And so now that I've done this, I need to think through how can I speed this up? I'm wondering if maybe I need to use a Redis cache layer. I'm thinking, what is the slowest part right now, and how can I get this faster? But this is the main thing that I'm working on.
How does Claude and Chat GPT do it? Have you checked?
Great question. There's no articles about it, if that's what you're asking.
But you want to pull up? Can you see my screen?
No, but I'll stop sharing so you can.
I mean, let's just do a quick test. Why not? Oh. I think they're using. I remember seeing an article that they switched from Next.js to what's the other version? So they might not be using server side. But let's see. Test.
Yeah, you've clicked out of the URL, so you won't see the URL.
Where do we do that? There we go. Test.
Now watch. Instantly it sends you to a new route, and then it gives you a response. So it already is taking you to the new route. You didn't even see it, and then it responds. So the order is send a message, see the message instantly, redirect you invisibly, then do the thinking and response from the chat.
Yeah.
I'm going to emulate this exactly. And the slowest part that we have right now is that time between message appears and we're redirected to the new page. So I got to figure out how to speed that up a little bit so that it's as fast as what chat is here. But I'm right with you that this is the benchmark to hit, and we should be at par, if not better, than the speed that they just showed.
Let's try this one. I don't know why I'm not on my. Let's just try it.
Instantly sends you to the new route, and it doesn't reply until you're on the new route.
Yeah, they didn't even. That was an instant route. They didn't even send you to a.
No, you're on a new route. You're now on your.
No, I know, but they did it before. Like, they didn't do the. Maybe they did the invisible one. It was even faster, but like, it seemed like it was instant to a new route instead of showing this and then the invisible part. You know.
You're saying the route change was even faster than chat.
It seemed like it. Let me see. Okay, look. Hi, boom, boom, right to chat and route.
Yeah.
Whereas chat was, let's see, let's go back. Oh, that's sore. Let's go to chat. Hi, boom, two. So it takes like an extra second.
You're right. I'd say that Anthropic is top tier, better performance than chat. Is that what you're also claiming?
Either that, or I just have less. I'm just sending less information because that was a free tier. So I chat is I also has my memories It also has my system prompt and my instructions. So it just might be a bigger thing to send to the LLM than just my free chat. All right, but yeah.
We've talked about what we did. Where do we want to go from here? Do we want to go into review and keep kind of navigating with how we're vibe meeting, or do we want to go into the Notion doc and follow the Notion doc? Do you have a preference on how we run this one?
I want to know what your preference is.
I saw from Guillermo Rausch, he said, if you're doing a meeting that has a set agenda, that's a recurring meeting, it's not sincere. And that stuck itself in my head a little bit. However, you become that which you are most consistently exposed to. And if this Notion doc is where we want to shape ourselves into becoming, that practice helps us to intentionally change our attention, which changes our practice. So both of them have their benefits. One is more sincere and authentic in how we're feeling today. The other is more sincere on a goal that we've set in the past and our goal to change our practice in order to become that which we currently are not. So I didn't give you an answer, but I gave you some thought process.
You know what the answer was for me, that based on your response, is start a new Notion doc and let's see if we recreate. Do we end up with the other one? Like let's intentionally try to plan. Maybe our Notion doc is just a little stale because we've been using it for the last 3 months. And what are the things that we actually remember from it? I don't know. Let's find out.
Let's find out. Let me create a new doc. Weekly check in. Today's date, Friday, April 4th, 2025. Something that we want to do is code review for rename plus delete. What else would you like to add on to this list before we start implementing the list? We're in the planning and reasoning step before we get an implementation.
I want to talk through what's the most important shit that we need to talk through. So most important question for next week.
Start with that, or you're saying get that in at the end before we wrap up?
Yeah, get that in at the end.
That I agree for next week. MIQ.
And then
weekly goals for next.
And then previous week's check-in. I don't know, check-in's the right word, but previous week, how'd you feel?
What will we gain by talking about the previous week?
Where just reflection on any way I could have helped you more, any way you could have helped me more, anything that we look back on and say, maybe we could do this better. I like it.
Any sort of data reflection. Yeah, that previous week reflect on data. What data are we tracking to measure progress being made?
I like these.
Anything missing before we jump out of reasoning and get into implementation? Planning the call, reflect on the previous week, get some code review, talk about weekly goals, talk about MIQ. We have
I like it.
Minutes in, so we're like 25% through. I am also in agreement that This feels like a good list. Let's add a check here. Okay. What was shipped? Do you have a preference on if you start this one or if I start it?
No preference.
Sweets. You mind kicking it off? This one, and I'll do the next one.
Yes. This week, let me pull up. Recent chat organization. Chat readability and formatting.
Chat markdown, yep.
Knowledge base was officially shipped at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, that's been a long one.
I think those were the main three.
Custom knowledge base for musicians. Recent chat organization, chat markdown. Those are all great. You've been preparing a lot of artists to be handed over to our free tiers, yeah?
Yeah, so that was also shipped then. Yeah, just artist knowledge bases.
Anything else you want to add?
You know what? You can add sent emails to 1 RPM. Multiple emails are 1 RPM. I didn't get any responses, so I gotta rethink my
strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steph replied to me with Isaiah DeCircus stuff. She is connected with him, which is I think it is great that she came to me for something music industry related, and we gave it to her without asking for anything in return. I think that is exactly what energy we want to be bringing into the music industry. Continue to give until people like that, so that we build organic rapport, and just keep shipping what we're doing.
I agree.
Anything else you want to add on to your side?
No, you can continue.
Okay. On mine today, I've been working on instant response, new chat instant response. It's in progress, so I don't even know if this counts for me to include it in here. There was a chat bug for empty replies for no chat response. Like there was that bug that I spent a whole day trying to figure out. I thought it was token counting and it ended up being just empty replies. But this, I guess, is part of making the chat always reply. The chat always replies. Have you had a case when the chat has not replied since I fixed that I think I fixed that yesterday.
I did not.
You have not, but you also weren't able to create it earlier in the week, right?
I created it one time earlier in the week after we just talked. When I tried to, it was when I was trying to call our data. If I'm not calling our tools, then I'm good.
That is something I would like to highlight. I don't know if we actually want to include this in here, but MCP cold start. It's my hypothesis right now is when the tool calls when we don't get a response like that, it's because the MCP is cold because it's running on a serverless instance on Vercel. The upside of that is we don't pay anything because it's hosted on Vercel. The downside is if someone hasn't hit it in a while, it has a cold start, which means a slower startup, which might be, I don't know if this is correct, this is just my hypothesis, but the chat is not responding in some cases because of that. Chat not responding. This is all, I'm just going to say big hypothesis so that we know that this is not concrete at all. So chat always replies. Earlier, chat no response. Oh yeah, I did a Perplexity MCP server on Vercel. So we now have our own self-hosted Perplexity MCP. Something I've observed with that is while we have Perplexity for both Perplexity Ask and Perplexity Reason, I have yet to see Perplexity get called for anything other than Perplexity Ask, which is just one of those things of like giving the assistant a million tools does not necessarily benefit it. It seems like it will lean on one tool, and being intentional with the tools. I actually don't know if I have a lesson to pull out of this, more of an observation that I gave it 2 tools for Perplexity, but I've never once seen it use the Perplexity Reason tool. And I also don't know necessarily how it's super different from Perplexity Ask.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I guess it's something we could test.
And then Monday I was focused on Coop, so that was an off day for me because I was entirely focused on one instead of sharing. That is it for me. So I did new chat instant response, which is in progress, always replies. Nothing major. I mean, like, it feels like I'm cleaning up the edges, but it wasn't any ground break.
It was major, bro. Are you kidding me? The chat wasn't working at the beginning of the week. Now it works. That is groundbreaking.
What went wrong? Go ahead.
I think that just figuring that issue out of the chat not working was the big crack.
I saw someone post today, I would be willing to pay $500 a month to never hit Claude rate limits. And that I'm excited for that to hit us again so that I get back into like, fuck, the chat's still not working. That'll be a nice opportunity when we scale, is seeing that response again. Anything else you want to cover in what was shipped this week before we go into what went wrong?
Nope.
What went wrong? New chat, instant response, we have, like, it hasn't been easy, not easy to, it's not easy, but that's not clear. There's, what went wrong? I'm just going to start writing problems that are most playing. Chat, new chat is still too slow. What went wrong this week in my week? Monday, all spent with Coop Rex. Other days, all spent with Recoup. So far, no time on Base or Coinbase. And I want to go to the mountains this weekend. And so what I was doing over in Argentina when there weren't mountains of staying inside and coding, for Base and Coinbase, I might need to change that. So let me do this better and label it as time management for projects. I get stuck on something and then I let myself get stuck on it and try to keep hitting it for hours instead of unplugging right down into my queue, let the subconscious work on it and jump to another project where my subconscious has been working on it and doing a better job of like jumping between tasks and planting seeds in my subconscious and using the brain as a tool that has both an active state as well as a subconscious processing state. I would like to be doing better on. Is there anything else problems this week that I could be, oh yeah, cold, I could write down cold start, but I don't even know if that's a thing. I'm going to stop there. I'll pass it over to you. Those are some things that went wrong on my side. On yours?
On my side, some things that went wrong are just shipping the too long of a PR. That was a waste of 4 hours. So reflecting on making sure that I'm shipping small specific PRs. I'm sorry, not shipping, but I'm working on small specific PRs that are easy to review when needed. What else went wrong this week? The responses from the email reach outs for onboarding custom onboarding.
Lack
Did not get, lack of responses. So I need to figure out what's going on there and why. Those are my big ones.
Those sound right. How could we have done better? You want to kick off this one?
I think from the small specific pull request one, that's the exact answer.
Yeah.
And how can I have done better with the email replies? I think I could have been more. I think I could be. What's the word I'm looking for? I could have a bit more fire under my ass to get a response, and I could lean on you more to help when I hit walls. Just faster execution, faster iteration when it comes to the sales process.
I agree with faster iteration. Yeah, going into that, how could we have done better? I can shorten the time between Sid pings me for review and I give him a review. Sid pings me for review and I review. And along with that, Sid can shorten the time between I leave a review and Sid fixes feedback. Both of those things will improve our iteration time for you getting pull requests out the door. Let me put those both together. Pull request reviews. When you ping me, I can get in to review it faster so that you feel like I'm attentive and that I'm valuing the time when you put out a pull request. You sent one at 1:30, it's now 3. So it's been an hour and a half and I haven't reviewed your pull request. And then the same on your side. When I send it, if you can reply, I'm already there and actively looking. And so we can get things out the door faster.
Yeah.
On my problems or what went wrong, new chat is still too slow. How can we have done better? How can I have done better on chat is still too slow? I want to say less vibe coding, and I don't know if this is true. Less vibe coding, more true dev or pure dev understanding.
When you say pure dev understanding, what do you mean?
Sometimes I feel vibe coding leads me down wrong paths because I do not have pure understanding of what's going on. And so I give it a task, but because I'm not forming the prompt correctly, we go off on a route and then we spend time on that route and I get upset at it that it's not understanding when in reality, I did not have a clear understanding. And because I lacked a clear understanding, the AI has much more space to hallucinate because I don't have the ability to verify if it is correct or not.
It's a really good point and something that I have down for my next week question, which we can get later, get to later, but I agree with you.
New chat is still too slow. Time management for projects. I think on time management, I don't want to create blocks and say like, this is recoup and this is coop. That's going to make me stressed and it's not going to leverage the natural flows that I have in the workflow. But small goals for each project on a daily basis. Small goals, small, well-defined goals on a daily basis so I can efficiently build multiple projects. I don't even like that. So I can efficiently iterate at least once per project per day. I would like, the goal is to have shorter iterations, and every time I don't get at least one iteration on a project, I have missed an opportunity for us to have a better understanding and to have new goals. And so maybe smaller shipments per project, be able to unplug when I hit a wall, ask MIQs internally and to team.
That sounds good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm good here. You good here?
I'm good here.
What data are we tracking to measure progress being made? Sweets, Sid, personal chat. I am definitely using the product on a daily basis. In more ways than we're even marketing the product. I'm using it regularly, and that has been a change, at least within the last 2 weeks, if not this past week. Are we? What data are we tracking to measure progress being made? That I'm tracking in my notebook. My notebook. That's what I was just reading through. I record tasks plus MIQ. Are we doing anything else to track? Am I doing anything else to track right now? What data? Number of pull requests is something that I do track internally on my team. I don't share that with you. I think I shared it with you once, and then I haven't shared that since. I would argue this is hazy, and we are missing systems to properly track progress being made. What defines progress? I would say number of unique humans sending at least one message per day, number of new artists being scraped. What other things I would care to know? Number of unique humans sending a chat, that one's important. Number of new artists being scraped. I'll keep it there, and I'll pass it over to you.
Can I add one to yours? Or I'll add one. I mean, I agree with yours for the last ones. But I also am definitely using the product on a daily basis and more now. I am tracking sales pipeline in the founder's dashboard.
That's still being updated by you?
Yep. I'm tracking, number of PRs and number of email or customers reached out to. But I agree that these are hazy, and we should probably get better systems in place. We definitely need to get better systems in place. So I agree with all the things. What defines progress? Number of unique humans, number of new artists being scraped, number of free trial customers converting to paid users. And number of demo users, or number of demos given to free trial actively being used, free trial usage. So like the pipeline is really like demos given, and then tracking, are the people that we've onboarded from demos sending at least one message per day? Are they adding more artists? And then are they converting from free trial to paid?
Demos. No, it's first customers reached out to, then it's demos, then it's free trials.
Yeah, that's the sales pipeline. And then then we can throw in the other things that you have on your list, which is unique human sending messages. Goes like after the demos are given. Are people actually using the free trial?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I wanted to add to this list, which goes back to your code base or to your thing about vibe coding versus dev understanding, is a lot of the time I start my vibe coding, I ask it like to do or analyze my code base to learn it. And then I'll prompt like 5 or 6 times and say, okay, dive deeper. Okay, dive deeper. Okay. And then I'll be like, okay, go through every single lib file and tell me exactly what each one does. And like, I literally, my roadmap suites. Wait, I want to show you my roadmap. Because I've converted my roadmap. Can you see this?
I see it.
Into an entire code base documentation.
Oh, nice.
It like goes through every single file and says like what this thing does.
And this was written by the LLM, right?
Yeah, I just had it go through and do everything. But my thought process when it goes back to what you were saying, like, see, it's going like through like, does it know what the app routing is? Does it know what components/chat is? Does it know? So like, and I have it go through everything.
Wow.
And it's only like 80%, not even 80% there. And I'm gonna continue to go through. But my thought process is going back to what you were saying, where like you're sending prompts and it doesn't fully know the code base. You don't fully know the code base. So like we go down these routes. So maybe it's something where we spend a little bit more time on our documentation but we rethink how we do documentation, where it's not just documentation for other humans, it's documentation for LLMs as well, to fully understand what the route is and why of, this random thing that Ziad did back 5 months ago. Like, why is it there? And does it even like, when was the last time it was edited? Like all of the things that like will prevent the vibe coding from going down rabbit holes. Like, which I was then also thinking through, like maybe rethinking about some of the principles that you had mentioned about code should be self-documenting versus if we had comments for the LLM on functions that if needed to be a little bit more specific about what the function is in relation to what, I don't know, just rethinking our documentation, right? Like maybe spending a day really diving in and well documenting might save us thousands of hours in the future from going down rabbit holes with vibe codes. But that was my my 2 cents. You can share your screen again.
Well put. Thank you for sharing that process.
It's just such a boring process, but it's like
a lot
nobody
of
wants to go through
a lot of important things are in the monotonous. I've added a section of what do we want, and I've added function documentation, and I want to talk with you when we get there about function docs versus inline docs. Number of is there anything else you want to cover on what data are we tracking to measure progress being made? Do you feel that we have properly encapsulated what data is, which question feels more important? What data are we tracking, or what data do we want to track to measure progress?
What data?
I think we're good with what data are we tracking, and let's add a new point in what do we want? Data tracking. Let's add in a section for us to talk about it down there if it's important. In terms of what are we tracking, anything else you want to add into here to encapsulate where we're currently at?
Nope, we're good.
Next step, code review, throw this in now, or do you want to reposition it?
Reposition it.
Where would you like it?
You could throw it at the bottom.
Very bottom. After we do our MIQ, it'll be the last thing we do before we wrap up.
Yeah, if we get to it, we can get to it.
Copy. Now talking about what we want. I think before going into weekly goals, let's just get like a raw list in here. And then we can filter it into. So what I would like for this one is raw lists that you and I are thinking through. And then going into weekly goals, we start to filter
Define
that.
list. Yeah.
Yeah. So you ended the last one. Do you want to kick off this one?
Yeah. So what do we want this week for this week or just in general?
Go in general.
I want we have data tracking, we have documentation. I want an artist homepage. I want a reason to click an artist and make it feel like it's a home. I want to set up a call with Bradley. I'm really excited about that, and I really want to get that set up. And then I want to identify every user. I want to identify every user, and get a. I guess this goes back to data tracking, but get a baseline reality of who our users are and how active they are.
Cool if I move that into data tracking.
Yeah. I think that's good. There's a lot of other things, but I
give them to me. What else you got?
I want to add the music API that I sent you, and I want to test. I want to use Chill Pill as a testing ground, where we upload Chill Pill. We have Chill Pill as an artist, but then it's like we have his knowledge base. We have an API sets for that can generate the music that sounds like him. We have a image that can generate images that look like him, and then we could figure out a posting thing. But like that feels like if we have all of if we get that process right, and then a little homepage for him, like it's a really powerful thing. Oh, and then the image, music API, image API. Cool.
Agree with that list. New MCP tools include image generation. I'll say in review, like I've written this code, we just haven't shipped it. Image generation in Recoup get artist profile. Image generation has Base plus Coinbase integration. I would like more Base plus Coinbase tools. New MCP tools for admin data tracking. And those are going to be what we said. Number of unique humans sending at least one message per day. Number of unique humans sending at least one message per day. Number of rooms with one new message per, and I'm going to just call it time frame instead of day. Use it in the same here, per time frame to make it a little bit more flexible. Admin data tracking, new MCP tools.
Slack.
Right. Yeah, Slack integration. more base and Coinbase tools. This would include stuff like Agent Kit, MCP to analyze a creator on chain. So like Zora / catalog / sound / manifold. What collections does an artist have? This is info that we could use internally when we're going into our combo with Brad, and also allows us to have a tighter coupling with any creator on base. On In Process, for example, the project with Latasha, CY, who's the patron funding that project, he would like a page on In Process where you can see for the selected artist all of their drops across all the different platforms. So I'm already going to have to build this over there. And if I could build this for Recoup as an MCP server and then just use that MCP server in Process, it allows us to have the ownership of that tool and to do the maintenance of that tool, because someone's going to have to maintain that MCP server, and then gives us a chance. Okay, we tied it in Process, gives us not only internal dog fooding, but usage across another project that I'm using, just like in the past. Defiant was working with Decent, and we've had overlap between some of the projects. I would love to be able to play with the synergies between what we're doing with Recoup and some of the others. What do I want? I still want chat always replies without errors. I want scraping is a tool rather than a long drawn out experience. Apify uses webhooks rather than constant loop pinging. These are going to be for wrapped analysis. Scraping, Apify, chat always wraps or replies without errors.
You know what I would love?
What do you want? What would you love?
When tool calls are being used, it shows what's happening.
When tools are used, we see a UI component showing what happened. I agree, and I have seen that in Vercel SDK makes this easy.
Perfect.
So we can already do it. We just got to prioritize it. It's not a big lift.
Another thing I would also add, if we're going to add things, I'm adding all of it. Canvas.
Double click.
Yeah. So I would like to be able to see the side, the canvas side of the chat, where we display what the tool is doing and seeing, or use it as a document editor. So just for more, a canvas with, wait, you know what I'm talking about?
When you said Canvas, I thought you were talking about Anthropic, and now you're talking about a document editor, and I'm not certain I understand.
I was talking about that, like the Manus or the additional side UI.
Yeah. Question for you is, how does this connect to Sid's new Markdown changes? Is this a different direction that kind of does away with some of the Markdown changes you just did, or is this complementary to the Markdown changes you just did?
Complementary.
Cool. That's what I like to hear. What do we want? What do we want? We're bulk throwing it in here so that way we have a list to reference when we go into priorities of, we've got our raw imagination in here. Maybe we give another minute before we force exit on this task?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I agree with your Slack tool. I want my automated content creation to fill into my weekly scheduled content, which is generative instead of clips from live streams. I would love to be able to, like, I don't know if you saw the video, I sent it to you, of I uploaded my PFP and then I used a video editor and it ended up animating my PFP into like talking about a feature. And I would love more automated like marketing for Recoup to attract new people with marketing videos instead of, the clips are great for my automated growth as a personal user, but there's not, in my content, I have a lack of call to action to get people to convert to actually using Recoup. And I would like to start mark daily content includes planned call to action. Recoup is used to generate and schedule and post the content.
I love that. I agree with you too. And I like, that's something that I'm struggling with as well, is it building content for marketing takes a long time to get it right. It's really easy to like record every meeting and then just chop it up and throw it out. But it doesn't, that's half of the battle, right? Yeah. That solves the consistency problem.
Right.
It doesn't solve like
getting like 3 to 5 followers a day, which is great. Like my followers are growing, which did not happen before I was doing that. But now it's like, okay, how do we 10x the growth that I'm seeing right now? Well, I don't even know if it's about growth for me. It's more about conversion. I think my growth I'm happy with. I don't need to grow hundreds of thousands of followers a day, but I would love to see more conversion of like people are in my comments saying, I've tried this product and it worked for me. It's not working. And I would love to see more conversion between my Instagram viewers and people using the product.
Yeah, I agree.
Real view and new chat creation. Anything else, or are we good to move on to the next step of weekly goals?
Opportunity statement.
In segments?
Yeah.
Tell me, in the past week with how much you're using Recoup, how often are you using the segments in the segment chats?
Very little. But I also have been dog fooding with Chill Pill, who doesn't have a lot of comments. So like I'm experiencing the app as a manager of a artist who doesn't have a lot of comments. And so where's the value that I get is more in chats than segments right now.
Even for me, and I have a decent following, I've been using chat exclusively and it gets me all of my fans and it does great like segment analysis. Like for example, I try to post a screenshot of how I'm using it every day. And yesterday it started spitting out my people. And then I was like, can you please write an outreach email to Base to try to get funding? And then it picked out fans, wrote out the email, included those, and I took a screenshot of it. And I was like, I thought it was great. I could have sent that email out, and musicians have started to come to me now that I have we have the active contracts with Coinbase and Base. Musicians are starting to come to me and be like, how can I get funding from Base? And so me sharing out that was, the point I am making is
you're using chat more?
I'm using chat a ton, and I understand that we had our Q1 goal of really focusing on segments. I am currently wondering who is getting value. Are we trying to force segments being valuable rather than finding that they are an organic thing that people have interest in and want? Is a question. I'll plant that question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Do the segments actually, are segments going to add value to the people who you are trying to get on sales calls with? Or are we demoing the chat, and the chat is actually what's going to is currently knocking our own socks off and is going to do the same for the other people that we're bringing in? Should we reduce the focus on anything else that is not chat and just focus on this one single thing until it's top tier? Or does it make sense for us to have a chat and these segments and the segment chats? Question to plan. Need for an answer.
I mean, I want to answer.
Answer.
I think you are correct in going down the path of let's continue to dog food and figure out where we're getting value. When I say segments, I think the cool part about segments is the data that we capture. Yep. We can still use it in chat, it's like figuring out how it goes back to how we're storing the knowledge base, right? Like having that, if you're using chat, if you're using the chat and saying, who are all my fans? And it's able to pull that. So I guess just figuring out, I agree with you. Funneling more to like chat rather than segment chat and segments, but just using the infrastructure that we've been building in the back end to just make our chat more powerful.
Yeah, I'll add on to here, MCP tool, artist, get artist segments. Right now, when we're in the normal chat, it has no context of the segments that have already been grouped. And so if we give it a tool that says, okay, in this context, it would make sense for me to retrieve those segments that we've grouped, it would have that tool to see what the segments are. And then in the normal chat, I don't have to go over to a segment chat. I stay in the normal chat. Okay, these are all the segments. I can use that information within the response I'm going to give.
Yeah. And then another thing, we're going to just keep throwing things out there, which I love this. You know how I love all of that. Onboarding. I think our onboarding can be drastically improved.
Yep, and I agree 100%.
Cool.
I agree with that 100%. That's one of the reasons I want to focus on chat replying instantly, is that's one of the first impressions people have. And if they have any experience with chat in Anthropic, we're immediately going to get put up against that. And if our chat is not at least on par with them, onboarding of new users, we're going to see drop off. I'm glad you've been focusing us on new chat. I remember at one point I was wondering if chat was valuable or if we just want buttons and AI in the background. I am glad that you have preserved that the chat is important, because I'm coming back to chat input, and raw text input is very valuable. Do you want to expand on the onboarding flow at all in terms of what's missing or what you want out of that to give more definition?
Yeah. Get more information from the user about their goals, dreams, desires, etc., as soon as they land, so that we can use that as a knowledge base for our user when they're chatting. So everything can be based around what this person's goals are. That's an onboarding enhancement for us. And then the next thing is get the user to value or an aha moment as soon as possible. And then it's defining what that aha moment is, like for our user. I think is the next key, and I don't, that could be 1,000 things. So figure that's the MIQ, one MIQ when we get there.
On my side, I'm happy to end this now.
I agree.
Okay. Question, is it which will be more impactful for our ordering? Do we start with an MIQ that then prioritizes or then shapes how we shape our weekly goals? Or do we start by setting weekly goals and then use those to as the foundation for our MIQ? Do you have a preference?
I might say move MIQ up.
I agree. I think we've got raw information. To use the raw info to form our question. You started last one. I start this one. Sweet Sid. What's the MIQ? What is the question? What do we want? Data tracking, functional documentation. We'll max it at 3 questions that we can have here as raw questions, and then maybe filter it down to 1 at the end of the call. What is the how can new chats respond as fast as ChatGPT and Anthropic? How can Recoup generate images and music and other content to fully replace my usage of ChatGPT? Is there anything else in my list that I could ask? Chat always replies without errors. Wrapped analysis. Yeah. What is the specific point in new human, new musician onboarding where they give up and never come back? I might come back and arrange these, but I'll stop there and pass it over to you. Scrolling up to your list.
My most important question is who is currently using the product and how often are they using it? My next important question, who do I want to use the product? And now, how can I guarantee they start using it? My third is what information is the wrong word. What insights can I provide that will make users check it daily? Those are my 3. Although I kind of have 6 because.
Give me a second. I'm going to say mine, and then you can delete one of yours. How can new chats respond? Generate images. Both of those are important. This one I'm going to delete. You just what info? What inbound message do I want to receive from Recoup in my WhatsApp each day? to help me grow the product. Do you want to replace any of your questions with one of your 6? Or do these feel like the most important questions you're pondering?
No,
right?
these are good. These are really good.
Okay. I'm happy with these. I think these are going to help formulate where we're going now, weekly goals for next week. I don't have any meetings after this. Checking in with you because I know you have family. Are we still okay on time?
Let me double check, but I believe so.
Go check.
Yes, we are good.
Okay. I started this last one. You go ahead and kick off this one, weekly goals for next week.
So the weekly goal for me next week that I can definitely do by myself and don't need any help is figure out. Well, no, that's the wrong word. Figure out is not the best way to put it.
It's okay. Riff it first, and then we can refine.
Follow up daily with follow up daily with people with the users for free trials. That's something I can do next week very easily.
With high impact, I agree.
Yeah, and I'll keep doing it. A pleasant persistence. Maybe that's the best way to say that. Number 2 is I'm going to do a mock-up of the artist homepage. And then start to get feedback from some people, from users.
From who?
From some music industry people. I also might, I don't know, I think just like mocking up the artist homepage and figuring out what cards need to go on it, what matters to people. And then the last one, which I think I want to talk with you about, is tracking, user tracking, and what can I do to help? Because I think that's the missing piece of the puzzle, but I don't want to go ship it by myself because I don't want to fuck up your shit. That's good for me.
On mine, chats respond. Part of me wants to say as fast as Claude chat, and the other part of me wants to say like less than 5 seconds, something that is not up to theirs, but still faster. Is there any reason we would not be able to get the same response times as them? Do they have an advantage by owning the models where they get a faster response from the models than we do? Or if I build this right, can we get the same response speed or faster? Let me check real quick by coming over to Vercel AI SDK reasoning, and we're gonna check out their blog.
Just test their thing.
Vercel's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The template. Yeah.
Instant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they can, if they can, how, I don't,
If they can do it, we can do it.
Let me try to count this. Instant, 1,000, 2, 1,000, like less than 3 seconds. So instead of saying as fast as chat and Anthropic, I will say as fast as the AI reasoning example.
I like that.
That way it's the same tool we're using. Chat responds as fast for new chats as the Vercel AI SDK reasoning.
Wait, can you do me a favor?
Huh.
Or at least let's be very specific. New chat response as fast for new chats as the Vercel SDK reason template. I just want to preface this by, when you just tested Vercel's, you had no system prompt. We don't know what their system prompt is. We don't know what knowledge base they have. Like, so you're going into it with a clean slate.
Yeah.
Whereas ours is not a clean slate. Like, we have artists loaded. And so
more
we gotta just, I want to make sure that you're not trying to the fight is fair. Like the race is fair here.
Then I would change to say new chat, initial chat enters reasoning step as fast.
Yeah,
Once
there you go.
Reasoning step, it's processing all that context that we gave it. But right now we can count visibly until the route transfers, until it gets into the reasoning step, and that getting to the reasoning step
user. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so new chat, that is potentially, it's a big architecture. Right now I'm building it as a standalone route, then we'll integrate it in. I'll keep that one there. And then I think outside of that, tracking is, there's tracking and then there's content generation. So tracking, how do I keep this specific and as small as possible so that it moves us in the right direction and is on a path that we want it to be on? Let me go back to my questions. How do we chat respond? I've got that in here. How do we generate images? That's what I'm doing down there. Content generation, and then what inbound messages do I want to receive? That is on tracking, potentially. We can keep it in Slack for now, and I can expand it to WhatsApp later. Content generation, ship existing MCP tool for image generation and get artist profile. And then tracking, add, make this 2 points, MCP tool. What do we define these tools as? Who is using the product and how often do they use it? How do we define these tools? MCP tool for
Supabase?
Get unique. You're thinking of a generic Supabase tool that's able to form any query instead of specific tools that call hard-coded queries?
No, yeah, it would be get a table in Supabase, right? And then analyze.
Yeah.
Or it needs to get multiple tables. What does it need to get? It needs to get
time frame,
artist table, email table, time frame table.
Get time frame memories, or I can just call it get memories returns. You know what? I'm going to say get memories. No, first get rooms.
Well,
get memories. Give me all rooms matching search criteria. Include updated at as filter query. That way we can say what rooms have been used in the past 24 hours. That's a filter on updated at. Same with get memories. I think these are both going to be the same thing. Give me all messages matching search criteria include updated at. What other things are needed inside of tracking? So who is currently using the product and how often are they using that? Get rooms.
Get
Should
a
be
user
the answer. And
account
get
ID.
memories. Sorry?
Account ID. Right? We would need to know who the account is.
Sure. So return account ID. Yeah. Who do I want to use Recoup? How can I guarantee they're using it? How can I guarantee? I don't know that.
No, that's less. I think that who is currently using the product and how often they're using it is the good first step for tracking. If you want to add the next step, it's how are they using the product? What are they saying in their searches?
Include account ID as filter query. That way, if Sid wants to say, when was the last time X email? Well, if we want to be able to convert an email to an account ID, we want to be able to say get account email, get email account. That way, Sid can put in an email and get back an account. And given an email, the account associated. If we get the account, then Sid could say something like, give me, when was the last time Steph's email sent a message? He put in the email, the tool is called to get the account. From the account, we can then get the rooms and memories, and then we can know this is the last room, this is the last message, and you can start to form based off of that. I think, in my opinion, these tools are a good enough foundation. What do you think is missing from this in order for you to be able to ask better questions to start to do tracking next week?
I think that you should have a most important question around tracking, because we just spent 15 minutes on the tracking infrastructure, and the question might be, is this the best way to do it? Because I'm thinking of what I would ask. Okay, I'm going to go into the tool and I'm going to say, how many messages were sent in the last 24 hours?
Yep.
Oh, actually, let me ask. This is a really good one. Now that I'm thinking through it, I want to be able to exclude our emails, like the dev emails.
Sure.
So it doesn't count all of us. I want to be able to say, what topic is what are the top topics that our users are asking about, or are asking Recoup to do?
Okay.
Who's the most active user, and how many messages have they sent over the last week, 24 hours, whatever?
What else? What am I missing from here?
That's good. I think these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a solid 5.
does this encapsulate what you wanted to be tracking, or am I missing what, when you're visualizing tracking, a phrase you might want to ask chat to be able to get the tracking you're wanting in Slack?
This encapsulates it. The one thing it's missing, but I don't know if it's a tracking thing. No, it is a tracking thing, but I don't know if it's this tool thing, is just understanding the clicks of humans. This is more of like their messaging and stuff, but like, okay, cool. Somebody signs up. Like, do they click new chat or do they go to segments? Like where they're getting stopped in the flow if they don't send a message or if they stop sending messages. Do they ever create a new segment? Do they ever do they use segment chats more than new chats? Like tracking through the clicks of a user. But I don't know if that should be included in this or if that's a separate build.
Clicks are not being tracked in Supabase. Personally, I'm not a fan of click tracking, like all clicks. I think, but if it's a priority, we can discuss who would pick up a task of tracking clicks.
Like
to me,
the reason why
feels insincere, and we could form that in a more specific question that would be more targeted and would require less lines of code change than adding a universal middleware where every single time something is clicked, we're saving into our database, which is like we could do that. It's gonna
I agree with you.
In the database, it's gonna slow down the experience. It's more things for us to maintain.
So the thing that
what I like about this is we're being very specific on the example prompts and what we expect to get out of it. And they're well enough defined for us to do this change in a clear and concise way. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
So this is my thought on clicks. I don't think we should track every click. I agree with you. It's too much. I think if we think through what are the most important clicks so that we can follow a drop off. So, which we kind of are already doing, but it's figuring out how to put it into so we don't have to go to 1,000 things to track it. For example, clicks onto our app versus emails stored. What's the difference? Because there's a drop off, right? If people land on our app and then they put in their privy email, but then they never add an artist, there's another drop off. If they add an artist, but they never send a chat, there's a drop off. If they send a chat, but they never, it's more so tracking the drop offs than tracking every single click. Like, where are people stopping? Where do people stop in our pipeline? Yeah. Maybe the next thing that we need to do is just write out that pipeline of what's the user flow that we expect. And then those are the things we want to track.
Yes. My hypothesis is there's enough information in our database for us to get most of this without tracking clicks. That click tracking is not the correct term to orient the conversation around. And it is instead like, if you want to know if people are using segment chats, get rooms chat. We can filter on rooms that include that are associated with a segment. That way you could do the same query and then say segment chats for whatever human. If you're saying who is dropped off, we can potentially query privy for everybody who has signed up, and then also query our table. And these are things we can form these queries without tracking clicks. And,
I like it.
Okay.
I agree with you. Yeah, click tracking is the wrong phrasing, but I agree with you.
This task looks massive for me going into next week. I'm setting a big goal for myself.
So let's simplify it.
if I only did one of these, which one of these things will provide the biggest impact on what pushing Recoup forward to achieving its goals?
What do you think?
I'm not sure.
What's your gut tell you?
Keep focusing on the first one because I haven't solved it yet. And rather than jumping to a new problem, leverage the compounding interest that my subconscious is doing by staying focused on this problem.
I agree. And then for tracking, how do we simplify the tracking deliverable to be like the most minimum MVP? Does it need to be in Slack?
Right now, I'm not even considering Slack. Right now, I'm just thinking MCP tool, and it's accessible on the front end. And you're probably going to raise alarms and say like, "Whoa, people shouldn't be able to ask about that." And then because it's too public, you'll then tell me to filter it, and then I'll filter it after that, so that only you and I can ask those questions if we decide it's not public.
Okay.
Right now, my plan, if I get to this step, which it's the last step on my list right now. If I get to this step, this MCP tool, first build the MCP, second plug it into the existing app that we have, and then next week at this time, if I've done this list, we decide, is it worth me building a Slack tool? Does Sid want to go and build a Slack tool? Etc.
No. So this is what I think. I think you're absolutely correct. Focus on the reasoning. And I mean, the first thing. Ship the second thing because it's already there and you're pretty much done. So like get momentum. I think going into the tracking.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I'm trying to think of like how do we simplify the tracking even more, or is it something that I can help? How can I help you? How can I help you in your list so you don't feel overwhelmed by it? Is it something where I can take tracking and I can take the first step of the tracking thing for you?
You could take this MCP tool. Like you could fork our existing MCP server, or you can expand the existing MCP server. And that would be your call. Like, do you want this to be included in the chat? And so let's expand the existing MCP server. Or is your thought that this is an internal admin tool and it's not presented in the Recoup chat product, in which case fork the existing MCP server, build a new MCP server with internal admin tools. And then after you build that, we decide where we want to hook it in, whether it's a Slack bot or somewhere else.
I mean, would it be easy to create a super admin where we can use the internal Recoup? I mean, we could use the Recoup chat, but only me and you can access certain tools?
That is an option that you can build. How I imagine that would be is on the backend /API/chat. Whenever a request comes in, you look up the account ID, and if the account ID matches you and I, include this tool set, and if it does not, do not include that tool set. Step one is definitely deploy the MCP tools first, but then if you're now thinking about how you filter it on the front end, that would be the lowest lift in my mind.
Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking with the tracking, like, yeah, I agree with you. You work on the first top two. Whoever gets the tracking first, we'll just ping each other and be like, all right, cool, we're gonna start tracking, and then work through it. I think I feel better about tracking now that you said we're already tracking everything, and this is more just about delivering the information in a way that's usable. So it makes me feel like, okay, this might not be as needed as on the list as I thought it was, because we currently are already tracking it. So, yeah. as long as we're not missing things, like, but I think you're right in the sense of we're already tracking it now. Just how do we make sure we act on the data easily and quickly?
A super easy one that you could do is Vercel Analytics. Right now, when we go into Recoup Chat on Vercel, we have an analytics tab. Oh, yeah, and it looks like we don't have it plugged in right because it would tell us at least that you and I are on it. And so to add it in is just
yeah, I could do this.
They have docs, and you just go onto Vercel, go into analytics, and then the 3 dots go to docs. It should be something that you can vibe code pretty easily. It's a package, and
yeah, I can set this up. This is I think I set this up for the website.
You put this one tag into the root, and that should be all you need to do. You install a package, you add it into the root layout, and then this page that Isaiah was showing us will fill up with our own data.
Awesome.
Anything else we want to talk about in weekly goals?
No, I think we're good.
I'm also feeling like we're good. Last thing, do we want to go into code review, or do we kick this into async?
I don't know, man. You want to real quick go run through my code? How you feeling?
I can continue to go. I just think about Alessa and Story, and I wonder how. I don't want them to kill me with how much time of yours I take.
No. I'm good. I have the afternoon block, so we're good.
Okay.
My calendar says deep work.
Okay. That's so funny. All right. Let's go into this. Start with. Edit. Okay. 5 files. That sounds beautiful. 393 lines. Delete. Okay, so we got a new delete room ID. If not a room ID, otherwise, I would prefer that this is in its own file. That way, if we need to delete a room in somewhere else, this is not coupled with the API endpoint, but I'm not going to block because we've been doing this for a while and it's a init. This looks good, but it looks like it deletes whatever room is passed in. Update. Is it just a rename? It's just a rename. Topic. Again, same thing. I would have put this as its own Supabase, but other than that,
you would have created your own Supabase lib.
I would have just put a delete or update topic as a Supabase lib, and then use that here just in case we need to do it somewhere else.
Got it.
But I'm not going to block it on that. Chat options. This sounds like the 3-dot option that opens up.
Yep.
Is it open? Is rename modal open? Is delete modal open? Potentially also split this out into use rename modal and is delete modal, but let's see how long this is. Is it over? It's over 100. It's almost 200 lines of code. 200 lines of code is going to be hard for a human or an AI to be able to read through and understand. This is more of a red flag than the other ones. I personally have a hard limit of 100 lines of code per file. This is almost double what my limit is, and it's already very clear how to divide this into one hook for renaming, one hook for deleting. But is it enough can I read this code at least? Is mobile, what are we using is mobile for? Set is menu open to true. Handle rename. Does the rename handle the delete? Yeah, this is very easy to do. You could probably tell it, can you please split this into one? You don't even have any hooks here. You're defining.
Correct.
If you split this out into, there's the React component code, and you have a hook called use chat options. That might be enough to cut it in half. Of use chat options handles all the state in these functions up top, and then this component just imports that hook and then has the code down here. But even this, like this could have been called a delete modal. This looks like your delete modal, and you've got it defined inside of the options. So this, let me write these out because I do think this component could be made better.
Yeah, if it's just splitting out, I can split them, and then I mean, if I'm going to split them out, I might as well split the other ones out too.
Yeah.
But if we just go through the review now, I verify and you're cool with the code as it just ends up being a splitting thing, then I can just do this after our call and then ship it.
Cool. Yeah, I would break each of these new components. What is this? Chat options button. And then this gets turned into is menu open and is mobile. Is, what is this? Or is mobile. I'm curious how this looks on mobile because the mobile logic is throwing me off a little bit.
It's a button hold. You'll test it. You'll see.
New component called. These are chat options. Chat. Like this is what I would think would be the menu itself, but you've already got options menu and it contains additional things in addition to just them. This is the rename modal. New components, rename chat modal. And then this is the delete modal. So this gets into delete chat modal. And then recent chats, we're expanding this with a bunch of code, taking us from a 40 lines up to 100 inside of recent chats. Conversations.map, get item ID. What is this?
This is recent chats for mobile. Let me say recent chat mobile is mobile, enter mouse. Touch start. Hover chat ID. I think this is this specifically for the touch screen on mobile of the recent chat sidebar to be able to open the modal on recent or on mobile.
New hook for all states and functions. What do you call this one if this is not inside of the chat options? What is this? And why did it take so much other code if this wasn't even included? I don't even know what I'm going to leave this up to you because it's your architecture, but it's starting to feel a little confusing. This should all be a new component. I don't know what it's called. I'm starting to get lost in your code. It's starting to feel like a lot. New component. There we go. Now we got a hook. Use long press. And this looks fine. Use long press. It takes an event. What is this? Void on click. Let's use that. New type for input params, long press input. Target start on long press. Clear. Okay, I'll stop review there. Comment. Let's try testing.
Cool. And yeah, what I'll do is I'll just split everything up like you just said, simplify it all. And I'm probably not going to ship this on my own. I'll have you review it one more time because it seems like a little bit more robust than.
I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree.
Mail. My social battery is getting low. I don't know about yours.
I can go for like 3 more hours.
I've been on live streams and calls all day. 71267 71267. All right, let's see how these chats are. Mobile first. Let's see if it works on this. Where are my recent chats? And where are my artists? Refresh. I don't see my artists.
What?
I also don't see my recent chats. Let's check out prod. Check out
That doesn't make any sense.
Let's see if this is the same on prod. Okay. Let me clear the cookies and then try refreshing. Okay. Oh, nope, it's still there. Clear. 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 Okay, there we go. Now I'm being prompted to log in. Log in. 821-713. 821-713. Does Chill Pill pop back up? Nope. Okay, so artist.
Why is yours not showing it?
Because you have an artist active. You see here on prod, if there's no artist active, there's no ability to select it.
Yeah, got it.
So that's a known prod bug. So this is not a bug on your server. It is on prod, and it looks like recent chats are also not showing on prod.
That's because I switched that because you have no artist selected.
So this is a bug, but it also exists in prod, so I will ignore this. But just know that if a brand new person comes on and they don't have an artist, they will be unable to see their recent chats, also unable to see their active artists on mobile devices.
Yeah, great bug.
But not blocking because it already exists in prod. I'll select an artist and go back to mobile. Let's assume someone has an artist selected before they try to do this. Now I come over here, I see my chats. You see long press, so I hold on it, and then it opens up. I like how this looks. It's beautiful. I click rename. It looks great. Hello world. If I save, it updated the hello world. Let's try to delete immediate action. Delete immediate action. I want to cancel. I want to do it again. I want to cancel. I want to do it. I want to click the X. Delete. Immediate action should go away. Immediate action went away. Let's rename this again. It's something. It looks like it's working. And then on desktop, testing looks beautiful. Testing, it looks awesome. awesome.
So just the code can be better.
The code could be better. Testing looks awesome. So I'm not happy with I will approve it because the testing works. And so if
No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy either, man. I want it to be good.
I don't want to
And
block it, so I'm going to approve it. If you decide that you want to ship it, go ahead. You've heard my feedback, but overall the functionality works great. So whenever you feel like you want to ship it, or if you want my feedback, either one would be great with me.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the weekend to make the code better, and then get your opinion on Monday. Because it's not like anybody's begging for chat renaming and deleting right now, you know. So I think we're good. Sweet. But I appreciate the feedback.
This has been about 2 hours of us reflecting on this week. If you made it this far, make sure you give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below, and have a great weekend. We'll catch you all on Monday.